Well, how's everybody doing today? It's like March the 17th, 2022, something like that. We out here beginning to prepare for our second year of our sunflower crop. And I knew it was going to be tough dealing with the stalks. I'm still not exactly completely sure how we're going to remedy that problem or get them up, or I don't know if the tiller on the tractor will chop these up or not. Let me get to end this row and I'll show you what I got going on. And the bad thing is, this ain't my land, so I don't have constant access to it to stay on top of everything. I wish I had my own land. Maybe one day. Almost done here. So that's our sunflower field, or was last year. The about 30 feet of that far side over there is going to be millet like it was last year. And then our sunflower row starts about right there and comes down. That's how we got 48-inch rows last year, and it worked really well. But I'm just I come and I wasn't not expecting it to be this green with all the chemicals that I put on this ground. But they only have a 8-month residual, so I guess that's obviously wore off, because this is green as can be. Always use directed amounts so you don't kill the whole county. But I had a 5-gallon backpack sprayer. I thought I was just going to be spot spraying, but you can see it's solid green. But I got from about right here over to our winter wheat with a 5-gallon sprayer. That was pretty good coverage. I hope it was enough to kill all this stuff, because it's getting about that time for fertilizer and lime and all that good stuff. Just knock down all these rows by foot, hoping that the root balls are going to be rotted enough that the tiller shouldn't have a problem with the root balls. But I'm concerned about, we use a push row planter by Manual Push Row, and if that Manual Push Row planter hits those root balls, like right there, that's going to cause it to jam up and stop and just be a nightmare. So I figure first step is get these stalks on the ground. I may take my grapple and just put it barely in the dirt and just push down and try to scoop as many as I can up with the tractor to keep us from having to pick all those up by hand. This is a 1.1 acres. Just the sunflower plot was 1.1 acres. And this was millet last year, and I know it's got a yellow tint to it. We didn't really fertilize, I think, is the problem. It's either the fertilizer is not enough or it's staying too wet, because it's raining every other day, like 20 inches a day. But we decided to do an actual winter wheat crop, because a guy on the line said that when this stuff becomes ripe in June and produces heads, that the doves stay in it. They don't even want to leave it. So if we can get birds coming in by June on this winter wheat, and then the millet gets done by July, then they'll have that. And if there's still wheat left, I mean, we'll be collecting birds or stacking birds by June. And that's we're trying to do a year-round feed source. And my hopes was, I had high hopes that we had like 4 hand heads, 4 hand size heads of just giant heads that ammonium nitrate just blew them up. Anybody that's planting, when they get about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks in, and you're going to do your post-emergence, mix that NitroSurf as your adjuvant, and it's a It's ammonium nitrate mixed in with the adjuvant, or it may be the adjuvant. I don't know exactly how that goes, but spray it according to label. And I think for 1 acre it took 3 pints of NitroSurf for 1 acre. Now I can cover this field with 10 gallons of water in one pass. However, I did 30 gallons of water and 3 passes, figuring that the more water, the more complete, like thorough coverage that I was going to get. It didn't bother me having to go over the field 3 times. You don't have to do that, I don't think, but in my opinion, it's the smarter way to do it. If you're going to spray, why not get every spot that you can with chemical on it? Because that's what your goal is, right? So anyway, you can do what you want with that. But if anybody has any advice on what to do with these sunflower stalks, oh yeah, about the year-round feeding. My hopes was we left a lot of this standing. All of these rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 15 rows we left standing with the hopes of giving them a food source all winter. Unfortunately, around December or January, the deer found them. Of course, you know their food source is limited that time of year. And the deer, we did our best to keep the deer out of here during planting time. And they didn't really mess with the sprouts, but they found those heads with those seeds in them, and they destroyed every last head that was out here. So there went our late winter food source. And so we were only going to be shy like February and March, April maybe, because by then the winter wheat should start heading out. And not long after that, the millet, and then the sunflower. And so you're feeding from end of May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So that's 7 months, but we're still missing 5 months. So if anybody has any advice for, other than trying to keep the deer off the sunflower heads, of what to do for that late winter, early spring food source to keep them coming around. That's the tree they love to come in. And there was only 2 doves in it when I walked down here. Now this place 2 years ago, first time we hunted it, we just sowed winter wheat across on that pasture right there. It's like a 1/4 acre. Tilled it up, sowed winter wheat. We had 30 birds, which, you know, that's pretty good for a little plot like that. So fast forward to last year, we done this millet. We done 30-foot millet, 30-foot millet, 1.1 acres of sunflowers. That 30 turned into 400. And when the migratory birds got here, I didn't ever get a full count, but I would say there was over 500 birds out here in like November time frame. You would walk out here and there would just be groups of 20 or 30 just flush out. It was quite amazing. I need some advice on the winter wheat, why it's yellow, and do I need to fertilize, or is it just the water? We got like 4 inches of rain yesterday, so I mean, it's growing good and it's coming back. It was thick enough I didn't think no weeds would grow, but you can see weeds down in there trying to grow up. And I have no idea about the spraying on winter wheat for weeds. I thought we had it thick enough that it wouldn't matter, but I mean, you see how green the tops are, but the bottoms are yellow. That's got to be water, overabundance of water. But we may run a straight NitroSurf blend over that. I hate to drive the tractor over it, make rows in it. It should pop back up, I would think. But I ruined a crop of what you call that, chicory, because they was like, oh, you need to mow it. Don't mow your chicory. If it gets seed heads on it and it starts to get unpalatable, just go out there with a weed eater or something, because if chicory is so tender that if you put tires on it, it destroys it. And I ruined a beautiful stand of chicory. Lesson learned on my part. That's my backpack sprayer I'm using, 5 gallon. I mixed it 6 ounces to the gallon. I did a pretty good clip pace walking, so I hope that that's good enough. Put this power pole in. I dug it with my tractor's excavator. Put this, I think it's a 20 foot, put 5 foot in the ground, maybe only 4 foot in the ground, so that's probably 15 or 16 foot. And then me and my partner strung that paracord, mildew and rot resistant paracord up, and they were actually using it. The little finches really love it, but the doves did use it. And I'll give you some more advice if you have not ever done a field and you're planning on doing a field. If you can, see that tree right there? If that tree could be in the middle of this field and do the field around it, money. They like that oak tree in the corner, and they like that tree. And what they'll do, hardly ever do they just come and land straight in the field. They'll go and set up, post up in the trees, and then go to the field. So if you can have a good tree, a dead tree, you know, if you're clearing out a new lot, just, you know, drill that tree and spray it, let it die. And that way it won't be taking nutrients from your field too. And just leave that tree in the middle of the plot. I think you'll be a lot happier. I mean, yeah, it might be a nuisance to have to go around it, but when you see them birds flock into that tree, it'll pay off. But anyway, we got all that still to spray up to about right there. So we got all this. There's another 5 gallon backpack sprayer worth. Last year we burnt the millet after it dried or died and was wilting out. I don't know if that's the best thing to do, because before we burn it, there's just doves piled in it. After we burn it, yeah, they were still using it, but not as much. So we may leave that millet just sitting. As long as there's doves coming to it, don't mess with it, is my advice. People always talk about clean ground and burn and all that. We keep enough clean ground on the sides, and we keep it mowed, and all the sunflowers will be clean ground. I mean, you think about that wheat. That wheat is going to be, you know, 4 foot tall by the time it ripens. And so if they can get in that, like pheasants, how a pheasant will get in a field, you know, tall grass. If a pheasant can do it, a dove's going to do it, I suppose. We're going to find out how that goes. Another thing I heard was if you try to burn wheat, it gets real hot real quick. So there's a danger element to that. But anyway, I just thought I'd give you an update. I'm going to try to do, once we start fertilizer, tilling, planting, row planting, post-emerge, grow, a checkup on the growth every so often. I'm going to try to get a good camera and do an edit of that whole thing into one, you know, maybe 45-minute video, hopefully, and make it more interesting and more content for y'all to enjoy, instead of just little clips like this. It's so easy to do with your phone, but you can't put enough on your phone, you know, to make it worthwhile, I guess. But anyway, there was some useful information here about your 3 pints of NitroSurf per acre. Do your own calibration on your sprayer. Mine was a little off, but I got it figured out once it seems to be a little different than when you're doing a test at home compared to when you come out to the field and are actually spraying. It turned out differently. So I don't understand that part of it. Maybe I did something wrong, I don't know. It was all this is my first time. This will be my 2nd year of actually planting crops. The winter wheat is It should be beautiful if I can get that yellow to go away. And I don't know, another question, can you put dry pellet fertilizer on a standing green crop and it not hurt it? And it, I mean, me walking through there is just about as bad as me driving a tractor over it. So should I nitro surf, straight nitro surf that and just let the liquid absorb? Because I don't want to burn it with pellets, and I'm afraid that might happen. And that's why I'm asking if any of y'all know. So anyway, it won't be long now. Hope all y'all are planning on doing something. Get outside and enjoy it. Yeah, it's work. I'm already sweating. You see that. And it's just now mid-March, but you can't get the end result if you don't start doing something now. The end result, you won't be happy with it if you don't put in that time and effort. So yeah, 5-gallon back. I ain't rich. I can't even afford to go buy some land, but 5-gallon backpack sprayer, 30 minutes of walking, 30 minutes of pushing those stalks over, just a little chip at it away, chip, 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 chip. And eventually we're gonna be sitting over here shooting at 500-600 doves, hopefully. But we'll see. Hopefully I'm gonna get that camera set up and have y'all some real content coming up soon, so stay tuned.